think they're an armed resistance group trying to fight for the... Do you think Israel's a terrorist organization?
How does this end, Abby? How do you actually get peace when we can't even have a debate without people screaming at each other? But we now know that a lot of Gaza has been leveled. I don't know if they can go back and live there, Gazans. I don't know how many more are going to get killed.
Every aspect of civilian life, surgically striking doctors alongside their entire families, killing journalists, many in targeted assassinations alongside their entire families. Really the best and brightest in Palestinian society in Gaza has been destroyed. IDF soldiers posting on TikTok that they're just blowing up mosques because they're bored, looting and pillaging women's lingerie. It really is depraved levels of sadism going on here. How does it end? A negotiated settlement immediately. What Hamas is offering is not beyond the pale. It would be easy for Israel to comply with the demands. The Palestinian hostages that Israel's been keeping, they're not called hostages, but they should be because they're just political prisoners that are languishing in military detention. Were not charged with anything. 30 of them were kids for throwing stones. This is the kind of thing that we're talking about. When Hamas says release our hostages, that's who they're talking about. When they say the removal of Israeli troops from Gaza, I don't see how that couldn't be complied with. Look, there should be a negotiated settlement. If you want the hostages back today, that could happen. And that's why there's thousands of Israelis protesting in the street. And Hamas is only the result of Israeli policy of brutal apartheid, ethnic cleansing, and occupation. That's why Hamas exists. Any type of Palestinian leadership that has arisen is a direct result of Israeli brutality. Every cultural aspect of life in Gaza has been completely obliterated to make it uninhabitable and unsurvivable for future generations there. Look, what precipitated even the origin of Hamas? Hamas didn't just grow out of thin air. It was precipitated by decades of brutal occupation and ethnic cleansing.
Yes.
I'm not justifying anything that they've done. The United States also called Nelson Mandela and the ANC a terrorist organization because inevitably you will have blowback when you deny millions of people basic human rights. When they're living under brutal medieval siege and barbaric military occupation, a fascist military occupation in the West Bank. Hamas doesn't govern the West Bank. Look at what Israel has done in the West Bank. This isn't about Hamas. This is not about Hamas. What you're doing is conflating and pretending like there are two equal sides. Oh, they've just been fighting for decades. There's always reasons on both sides to start the violence. No, that's not true. There's one side that's an occupying, colonizing force that continuously and violently expels and subjugates and brutalizes and terrorizes the other side. They are living under the boot of Israeli authorities, whether you're in Gaza and occupied completely militarily by the outside, or whether you're living under a fascist military dictatorship in the West Bank.
So do you, if you believe, okay, so if you believe,
violence.
Okay,
That's who studies history. You can sit as a person who studies history, Emily, you're doing the exact same thing and you're projecting it on me. Okay, so do you condemn the actions of Israel for killing 13,000 children? There's so many lies that were put out by Israeli authorities that it's really hard to parse through. Look.